Thank you for tuning in. I'm Naijha Wright-Brown, Executive Director of the Black Veg Society. And today we're talking about rooted vegan cuisine. What is rooted vegan cuisine? Our guest today, Naomi, is going to tell us all about it. Hey, Naomi, how are you doing?
So good to see you.
Same here. So talk to us. What is rooted cuisine?
Rooted Vegan Cuisine is a frozen food manufacturer, and we are based out of San Antonio, Texas, and we are found in stores throughout major cities in Texas, and we also ship nationwide. And we specialize in, right now our menu is lasagna, mozzarella sticks, spinach and cheese manicotti, and broccoli cheese soup, but a lot of exciting ideas when I add to the menu.
I've had the lasagna, like it is my favorite, like the best. It is so good. And then you had the broccoli cheddar soup. You had like a spinach manicotti or something like that, and the mozzarella sticks. But the lasagna was my favorite. Now, in reading your bio, you talked about this started through an inheritance. Can you talk to me about what it felt like to receive an inheritance from your father to start something like this? What was that feeling like?
So, it was like, it was a life insurance, and my dad passed away from a terminal illness, Parkinson's. So we knew it was coming. And I don't know, the money, I don't know. It seems weird, but it was almost irrelevant. It was the fact that it was like, it felt like a piece of my dad. And so when I was thinking about, actually, I went through like the whole grieving process, and that's a lot. Anybody that has lost someone very close or a parent knows that you go through a lot. And when I was kind of coming out of that, I knew that like this was like a piece of my dad that he wanted to have, and I have a brother, an older brother, and we both ended up taking our inheritance and starting businesses with it. So even more so than like what the business was, it was more so like, I think it's so cool that both my brother and I were trying to not just spend the money, but make the money last. So it's cool because the inheritance is more so like a piece of him that is still living now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I definitely understand what you're saying. In your case, why a vegan food company? When you started, it was Rooted Soul Food. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, that again is also very much like related to my dad. I grew up in St. Charles. So you hear a lot of people hear me say St. Louis when I say where I'm from. That's because nobody's gonna know where St. Charles, Missouri is, but it's right outside of St. Louis. And my family was there, and I was trying to find my community here in San Antonio. And I'm a huge foodie, so it just had to be vegan related because I'm trying to find people I can go eat with and enjoy, right? So I started the business like Rooted Soul Food as a call out to, hey, I'm cooking for my community. Where y'all at? Come buy my food.
Was it still vegan? Was it still vegan food? It was okay.
Oh, yeah. So I started doing hot food pop-ups at markets, and we were super lucky in San Antonio. There was like 3 monthly fully vegan markets that I could go pop up at, fully vegan in San Antonio, Texas. And I think that always surprised people because this was at this point a couple years ago. And they don't think that the vegan scene would be popping that much here to be able to support 3 full markets every month. But we did. And I quickly got a little following, and I didn't start out serving the lasagna, but eventually I threw it on the menu one day and people kind of went nuts, and I became known for the lasagna. So when the pandemic shut everything down, I was still getting lots of messages. How do we get the lasagna? How do we get the lasagna? And I started making them, freezing them, and delivering them for people to heat up at their house since I wasn't doing hot food pop-ups anymore. And it quickly took off. So we renamed the business Rooted Vegan Cuisine because a lot of the soul food didn't freeze well, and we were moving into that realm. So that's why we went frozen.
So you kind of started answering the next question I wanted to ask you, and yes, my sister is out there in San Antonio. She's in the Air Force, and she was telling me her hairdresser was ordering food from you, and I know. Destiny De Jesus interviewed you on Black Veg Society, so it's just everything came full circle. I started really hearing about you through Destiny, and then when my sister knew, I said, "Oh wow, we definitely got to try this." Talk about that pivot, because the pandemic happened and a lot of businesses either had to permanently close, temporarily close, or pivot their business model. Talk about the impact that had on your business. So it went frozen, but what was that like? What was the transition? How did you do it?
I was doing all these pop-ups, and I always knew that I didn't want a restaurant and I didn't want a food truck because I have two little bitty babies. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. And, yeah, and I knew that I wanted to have time with them. And I just felt like a restaurant or a food truck would be nights and weekends. And that's the only time I'm going to get with them, basically because of school, right? So I was doing these pop-ups, just always keeping in the back of my mind, I don't want to do a food truck. I don't want to. So I was trying to figure it out, and then the pandemic kind of pushed it forward, like presented the opportunity because everything shut down. I didn't have access to markets anymore, and people were still demanding, requesting my food. So my husband joined me in this venture about that time. It was very much like well, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm just gonna this is in memory of my dad. I have this money I can put to it, very much a passion project. And then it became more real in the eyes of this is something that could actually sustain our family. My husband came over and added so much talent and business savvy expertise to the mix that really transformed it into a much more well-rounded and well set up business. So
isn't that so cool when the spouse steps in and can help you out?
We're serial entrepreneurs. We've been together for a long time, and we've had multiple different business ventures, lots. So
I love couplepreneurs. I love it. I got to bring you two on together, because that's a serious dynamic there, because you're married. So you got, that going on as the partnership. Then you have your business. And then if you have children, that adds all into the mix.
This is the first time that we've had to build a business with kids. And when I tell you that is a whole different ball game, because every other hustle we had, it was 12, 14 hours a day on the business, and we're getting it. We're grinding, right?
Right.
Now it's well, we got to get the kids up. They got to get fed. They got to do it, and it's we feel like there's so much less time to dedicate to the business, and it feels like it moves in slow motion because the amount of energy and effort we have to, direct other places. But I'm so thankful. We were already a little older when we had the kids, so I'm so thankful that we did that, and we have our babies. So.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When we were starting the Land of Kush Vegan Soul restaurant in Baltimore, I got pregnant with our daughter, our one and only daughter. And so having the business, and this was new, we were probably a year in because she was born in 2012 and we started in 2011. So having the child, the dynamic changes because you're not shaking and moving as quickly as you want or need to, because you have to think about the needs of the child, whether you got to put them in childcare or whatever. So it always adds to the mix.
Even just outside of taking care of them, the toll it takes on you. I'm I need to sleep. I need more rest.
As a mom, definitely as a mom. So I totally get it. I applaud you.
So he might peek in and say hi.
Okay, please. I hope he does. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you faced with Rooted Vegan Cuisine?
We just discussed the biggest one. The kids. But also they do provide that that extra push, right? Because I'm this has to work. We got kids to feed. This is more serious. So
right.
On one hand, it's a bigger challenge, and on the other hand, it's a bigger driving force that's bigger than you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
To hustle and push. Some of the other things were no experience in the food business at all whatsoever, jumping
You
into
don't say. You
you
don't
know,
say. I can
I'm
relate to that.
home chef. And now I'm a passionate home chef. And outside of the fact that we didn't know nothing about the food industry, there were a lot of other pieces of the business world that we were familiar with. And when you do start multiple different businesses, you realize it's not about the business, it's about what you have to put towards whatever venture, right? Like anybody can really, I mean, not everybody can just go out and be a brain surgeon, but if it's just like something like that, like you just have to learn it and figure it out just like everybody else.
Right.
Exactly. At some point, a lot of these food businesses started with zero experience and built all the way up from not knowing anything, right? And we're smart and talented and like driven and can figure stuff out. So it was it's still a huge learn. I'm still learning stuff every single day that blows my mind. I thought manufacturing would be so much easier than a hot food business. I did. I was like, that's cool, right? I get to work more of a 9 to 5. I'm not like doing stuff on demand, like people are at my door waiting. So it's gonna be great. I can come in late if I want, I can leave, or like I can. Wrong.
No, wrong. Yeah, I would think manufacturing was easier too. But so talk about that logistically. What is the difference? Like what is so much more challenging?
Okay, well, I didn't even realize it again when I first went into it, but we picked the hardest area of food manufacturing, which is frozen on top of it. And in my mind, it was the perfect idea because I was like, look, there's zero competition here. There's not like it's an open market. It's easy. And now I'm like, oh, I see why there's no competition here because it's hard as hell, right? So I know this sounds crazy, but I started a frozen food business and I'm still shocked by how much freezer space I need. I'm like, I cannot believe how much freezer space we need, but that's a good thing, right? Because our business is growing, so we need more and more space. But it was like little things like that. I didn't realize I would need this many freezers when I was getting. And again, it sounds silly, but there's so many things that you're thinking about. You don't think about so many details going into it. But I was really lucky because I had 3 different fully vegan, woman-owned businesses that invited me in to cook in their kitchen before I had to get into my kitchen. And
love it.
Just love. That was love. You know, community love, letting me slide in and use their kitchens and get my business up and running until the point to where I could actually afford to get my own place.
I always say the sisters have to lift each other up. I mean, if not us, then who? We have to work together. So that sisterly love is very important. Successes, like if you can think of the major successes, like that moment where you said, I gotta stick to this. Like this is it.
Okay. So the first one that popped into my head was I felt a huge, oh my gosh, this is happening, when a local restaurant here named La Botanica, every city has like their strip of bars and clubs. Ours is called St. Mary's. And on St. Mary's, there's this bar restaurant called La Botanica that was the very first fully vegan bar restaurant in Texas. And it was owned by a wonderful woman named Rebel. And they actually had little pop-ups at their, they had a big outdoor patio. So they would have like little monthly, that was one of the places where one of the little markets was. And they had their kitchen closed on Sundays, but the bar was open. So I was invited in to represent my brand. At the time it was Rooted Soul Food. So every Sunday I was like the chef in the kitchen that got to come in and sell Rooted Soul Food with the bar being open. So my food. And that was huge to me because I was like, oh my God, like once again, it was really hard for me to call myself a chef because I'm just like, I cook at home. Now, you know, I loved cooking for people. I love like little dinner parties and stuff. And so it was very much like my love language to cook for people. So when I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm here every Sunday, people are getting like the news started to hear about me at that point. So I did a couple news interviews and that was such a huge moment because I had so much respect for Rebel, for what she had done and what she was doing, because it wasn't just a restaurant, it was a community. It was she's a big activist, and I loved what she was doing. And actually she was an influence on why I feel like I put so much activism into this business, because I saw that it was possible. She said what she had to say, she did what she had to do, and if you didn't like it, don't patronize her place. And I was like, that's what's up. Like,
nice. I
yeah.
love it. Mm-hmm. So would you say, right now, Rooted Vegan Cuisine is doing all right, despite what's going on, the economy and how it's affected by the pandemic and all the stuff that's happening right now? What would you say about your business?
I think that we're moving in the right direction. I think that, from the outside, it probably looks way easier than it is.
It always does to people. Oh, that looks easy. I'm going to go do it.
There's still supply chain issues. Prices are still going up, but we're lucky to be in a lane that is a bit helpful from the pandemic, because a lot more people are wanting to eat at home. They're wanting to buy groceries. They're wanting to find things that are easy to pop in the oven, and they don't have time for all that. So in a way, we're kind of in the right place in the right time for that.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Vegan Family Reunion. How did this event come about? Do you want to talk to us about this?
Yeah, this is, again, a passion project, man. Like, this was 2020. Everything was crazy. I was losing my mind with everything that was going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and us losing so many important people. They weren't big names before, but they're important people now, right? And I had been telling people prior that to all that, before the pandemic, I kept saying, I want to have a Black-owned market. I want to have a Black-owned market. And it's because of the community, right? Like, I knew so many talented Black vegan chefs that I was patronizing, and I was like, y'all need to be popping more. Like, I want to see y'all succeed so I can continue to keep eating your food. Like, I need y'all to, like, blow up and be there. And I'm like, how do I bring attention to this community that is very much overlooked, right? San Antonio has a very small Black population, and I'm seeing this talent and I'm seeing this community, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do a Black market, a Black vegan market. And actually, a woman out of Dallas is the reason I was like, I'm gonna push the button. I'm gonna make it. I'm actually gonna do it, because she was like, hey, I wanna come down and do a pop-up. And she was so talented, chopping roots. She's gonna be there. She's gonna be here with us at the reunion. And she was like, I wanna come down and do a pop-up. And I was like, cool, I've been wanting to do this Black-owned pop-up anyway, so I'm gonna arrange it because you wanna come down, and I've been wanting to do it anyway, so I'll pull this whole event together because you want to come down. And so I credit her for making me pull the trigger on that. And it was me yearning to be surrounded by community and needing to see Black joy and take in that energy, because 2020 was so hard.
The first it was.
Obviously was 2021. But it was all the planning and the idea and everything came at the end of 2020. And I was just like, man, like, we need joy. We need community. We need to be around each other. I missed my family so much. I told you my father had passed away not too much longer than that. So I was like, I can't get around my family. So let me call this the Vegan Family Reunion. And I'm going to bring them together, because the support of the Black vegans, like, we already felt very close and supported each other. So I was like, we're already family. Let's do this. And that was why it came together. And it worked, because by putting them all in the same place at the same time, everybody was now like, who are all these people? I didn't even know this existed. And there were so many people around San Antonio that were like, I've been looking for this. I had no idea. And it was great.
Mm-hmm. I can only imagine. What would be your ask for viewers, anyone that's going to be watching the replay of this interview with you, any potential sponsors, supporters that may be listening or watching? What is your big ask to everyone?
Support, just like you said. So the premise behind the Vegan Family Reunion is pouring money into the Black community. So we host this event, and it's completely funded by sponsorships. And that is because typically vendors would pay a vendor fee to help pay for all the event expenses. But I wanted to support these Black-owned businesses, and I didn't want to ask them to pay. I wanted them to be part of the support we were giving out. So I got sponsors, and they don't have to pay any vendor fees to come and set up and sell. So they get the exposure, the connections, and the additional profits without having to invest in the event itself. After that, we are really trying to support the Black artist community. I know that they were severely hurt in the pandemic, especially. And I love, Black art is Black culture.
Yes.
And the music and the art and the fashion and all of that, like, they deserve to be put on pedestals, and they're often not paid what they deserve. They're undercut. They're not even credited. And I was like, we need to pay them what they deserve, and we need to help put some money in their pocket. So we hired DJs, MCs, live painting being done at the event. And
when is the event? When is the event? We saw the flyer. It's March 6th. I'm going to bring it up again. So
12 to 5 at the San Antonio Food Bank. And our food bank is special because it's massive and beautiful. And they just had a big grant and built out brand new facilities. I mean, brand new. Like, they just moved in, I think, in August. And it's this massive pavilion that is beautiful, and a big, huge new manufacturing kitchen. And inside of there's like a teaching kitchen. We're going to have a full lineup of demos and educators and activists speaking in there. And then we have a whole bunch of vendors coming from all over Texas. We have the artists that we hired that are coming to support this. Gray, Mr. Vegan.
Oh, Gray, plant-based dripping. That's my people. I love it.
And then everything he talks about is exactly what this reunion is about. So he's hyped, right? And he Plant-Based Dripping is our official t-shirt sponsor for the event. So you can go get your t-shirt. As a matter of fact, you only have one more week to put your pre-order in. And so go to Plant-Based Dripping, go to their website. You can search by like Vegan Family Reunion, or go to the link on our page, veganfamilyreunion.com, get that order in. Now, what you were saying is, what do I want to leave with people? You do not have to be coming to this event to support it. And even if you're not able to come, you should want to support it, because so many Black artists are being supported. So many Black businesses are being supported. And the thing that I didn't even mention yet is that this is actually a charity event. So we are raising money not only for the food bank, but for an amazing individual here in San Antonio. Her name is Nurse Nikki, and she is San Antonio nurse midwife. Now, some of y'all may or may not know that the Black History Month has a theme every year. This year's theme is Black healthcare workers.
Nice. Yes, they deserve it.
Right.
Healthcare workers have worked their butt off during this pandemic. So absolutely, I love it.
So she opened up her own birth and wellness center here in San Antonio, and it makes it one of like 10 Black-owned birth and wellness centers across the whole country. So it's a big deal. And she is a huge advocate. Like, if you go to her social media, she's been talking about Black people's experience in the healthcare system, how we can best take care of ourselves. And of course, she specializes in talking about Black birthing people and the process of bringing babies into the world, and, the really sad statistics around how often Black people are dying in childcare, or not childcare, but through the process of, pregnancy, labor, delivery, postpartum.
Yes. People don't realize that people do die women die during pregnancy. Absolutely.
Well,
yes.
The United States alone is horrific, period. Like, compared to every other major first world country, the United States is ridiculously poor in the maternal mortality rate. So we're already just here in the US already off in a bad place. But in the US, Black women are like 3 times more likely to die in comparison to Hispanic women, and 2.5 times more likely to die compared to white women. So it's just insane to have that stacked on top of the United States statistics. And research shows that when Black people are taken care of by Black medical professionals, we're far more likely to be safe, right? So what she's doing is so important. It is so incredibly important. She started a Black birth fund because a lot of Black people were not able to afford to have their babies there. So she started a Black birth fund and gives out partial or full scholarships to people, to Black birthing people, so that they can come have their babies there. One of the people on our committee, named Destiny, was a very recent recipient of the birth fund and wouldn't have been able to access services without that fund. And now she's on the committee that's helping raise money to put back into the birth fund. So
I love it. You know, I had 3 midwives when I was pregnant. That was my first pregnancy, and I wouldn't have done it any other way. So I'm so happy to hear about the charity giving to the healthcare worker and a midwife.
Yeah. So can I add that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you're not coming, you can sponsor the event. If you have a brand or you're just an individual, we are still looking for sponsors.
Just like Black Veg Society, proud sponsor of the second annual Vegan Family Reunion. Shout out if you want to support us so we can support them. BlackVegSociety.org. We meet people where they are. I love it. Yes, we all got to support each other.
Yes.
Shout it out, Naomi.
Thank you. And then, so we are definitely still looking for sponsors. We have a lot of amazing artists that we want to make sure we don't have to cut anybody. Come on in, send us over some money. We'll shout you out. We appreciate you. There's donations. We're doing a raffle to help raise money. You can donate to the raffle or you can buy tickets to the raffle. There will be a nationwide raffle with a bunch of amazing prizes so you can participate from anywhere, and we'll send out the prize to you if you win. Go to Plant-Based Dripping and buy a shirt. Part of those proceeds are going to charity as well. You can go to our event page and purchase. The tickets are free. So if you can't afford to come, if you can't afford to donate for your ticket, you are more than welcome to come with a free ticket. But there are donation-based tickets as well. So if you're from anywhere in the country, you want to go onto our website, you can buy a donation-based ticket, and that also helps. And yeah, I think that's it. Of course, exposure. If you can't do anything else, but you want to share our information on your network or your page and shout us out and tell people about what we're doing and ask them to help contribute, that is also another great way that you can help.
I love it, and I can't wait to get out there to see all the fantabulousness and get some live coverage from the event. Do you have any words of wisdom to share for aspiring small business owners?
I thought about this last night, right?
That's what this is all about. Business, sharing. Like, we got a lot of aspiring businesses out there and they need some support.
I think that the first thing that people especially if you've never started a business, a lot of people don't believe that they can do it because they think that everybody else that started business knew what they were doing. But you just have to have faith in yourself and understand, like, I'm going to have to do some education, and you do not have to go and pay for it either. Like, so you can learn so much from YouTube. I call it YTU, YouTube University. Lots of free education there for you.
Right.
So first off, have confidence in yourself and come up with a game plan. Now, my second biggest piece of advice, I had to learn from my husband so much. You think you have your startup money and you're like, I have this much money to invest and I'm going to go put a big chunk of it up front into doing all of this stuff. A whole bunch of the stuff you think you need to spend money on first, you don't need. Bootstrap it, save money, because there's going to be so many expenses that come along that you did not expect that you're going to need money for. So every time you can, without sacrificing quality, try to find a way to save money and do it cheaper until you really start rolling and getting your business up and running. I was recently counseling a new business owner in that. I was like, you think you need that, but you don't. stop. Don't spend money on that. Don't spend money on that. That's not important. I have a marketing background, so in my mind, marketing is so important. And I made mistakes spending more money on marketing than I needed to in the early days.
Marketing is very important, and you need to exhaust all the free tools, everything free first before you start spending money. And I can tell you that marketing myself and the businesses and the nonprofit, do all the free stuff first, get your publicity. And then, when you have revenue coming in, donations coming in, then put a percentage of that back into marketing. But yeah, try Google Business. Number one, that's Google Business. If you're not on Google Business as a business, then you're doing something wrong. You need to play in your business. You got to get on Google Business. And we're going to talk after that. That's an offline. We're going to talk offline about that. Google Business, get your business on Google Business. They have so many free tools on there. I love Google Business. So please.
I set my own logo first. It was crap.
Oh yeah. I got it.
And then I finally invested in a real one later.
Look, progress is better than perfect. Get something done. Check out Rooted Vegan Cuisine on the website, rootedvegancuisine.com, and follow them at Rooted Vegan Cuisine on IG. I'm going to put that flyer up one more time. Hey, if you're in the San Antonio area, near the San Antonio area, happen to be traveling to the San Antonio area in March, early March, Sunday, March 6th, 2022, from 12 to 5, go to the San Antonio Food Bank for the second annual Vegan Family Reunion. Black Veg Society is going to be there. Gray is going to be there. Plant-based dripping and all of that. And a host of other artists and vendors and people that are all about the reunion of vegans, because we're all family. All right. I want to shout out my sponsors, Veg Fun, A Welfare World, ETC Impact, that's Eat the Change, Mercy for Animals through the People's Fund, nutritionfacts.org, Women Funders in Animal Rights, Stray Dog Institute, collectively based right here in Baltimore, who's supporting Black-led businesses and is a Black-led company. So we love them a whole bunch. And Default Veg, you want to default to veg and let folks choose meat as an option, but make plant-based the forefront of your meal options. And shout out to Unchained TV. Make sure that you download the free app so you can get all your Unchained news. Shout out to Jane Velez Mitchell. What else do you want to say, Naomi? It's been fantabulous talking to you. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. What else do you have to say before we leave out?
I can't wait to see you in March. We family now. That's I can't wait to see you in March, and you can find all the stuff about Vegan Family Reunion at www.veganfamilyreunion.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Vegan Family Reunion. And again, you do not have to be local to support what we're doing, and you should definitely help us out from all around, because we're all family. Yes.
Absolutely. Love it. Thank you. And I shout out to Tom. Tom had checked in, said hello to me, but he's driving, so it's great. Thank you for tuning in, Tom. We appreciate your support. Again, everyone stay well, stay safe, and don't forget, we have this healthy kids MoCo bill that we would appreciate people supporting. We're trying to get healthier options in Howard County restaurants, so text options to 46839 to get more information about that. And with all of that being said, thank you. God bless. Stay well and stay safe, and continue to follow us and tune in. Have a great day.
Thank you.